Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Office Hours. As always, I am joined by the wonderful Flo. How's it going, Flo?
I'm doing good, thank you, Matthew. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. Hey, Mark. If you have a question for us, Mark, you're more than welcome to join us. I put a link in the chat. How's it looking, Flo? Any teasers this week?
Not yet.
Not yet. Mark's joined us. We'll switch to Mark.
Hey guys.
Hey, Mark. How's it going?
Had better days. I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Just because no one else is in here, I just want to show you something real quick. I do have a support ticket. Oh, I do have. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, I've got some crazy stuff happening here. How about now? You hear me now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
we got
had
you.
two browsers open. Anyway, apologies. So what's happening to us here is for like 4 hours now, we can't get into the editor. We can log into our account and we land on the editor, but it won't. It just hangs on loading every page. So anyway, we did finally get a response, and Daniel asked for access about an hour and a half ago, and we haven't heard anything. So I don't know if it's appropriate for. There's probably nothing you guys can do here in the office hours. I'm just kind of desperate because, of course, time is money for me. I'm paying a team that can't work. So anything to escalate, any help on this post office hours, I would appreciate it. But I imagine there's nothing you guys can do right now.
Could you just click on the three dots on the top left?
The three dots on the top left here.
The menu button. Yeah. And in here, you should be able to open it in a safe mode.
Safe mode.
Yeah. Can you try that?
Where is that?
Really, if you click on the button at the top left, the three dots menu.
Oh, I'm sorry. This one, you mean?
Yes, absolutely. And in here, you see you've got safe mode, no workflows and no formulas, just below. If you go down a bit.
Yes.
Yes.
I can't click on safe mode.
No, just the one below. No workflows. Yes, this one. Can you try this one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if it's loading something. Okay.
But I go to this other page, and it doesn't. It just hangs.
Okay. Can you try the one just below this one, the one with also no formula? So basically, what it's doing is it's loading the editor without executing any workflows and any formula. So it allows us to know if it's coming from an infinite loop within a formula, for example. So could you try to go to the same page as before?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay, and now you can click on things, right?
Yeah, it's getting there. So
Okay, so
hold on, let me just check one more time here.
yeah, let's check this.
It persists, right, Flo? So if you turn it, you don't need to turn it back on, right? It should persist when you switch pages.
Normally, yes, but
And now it's just hung again. But I got farther that time than I'd ever gotten before. Is it still in this mode, or do you have to hit this every time?
Normally it's still on this mode. Do you have the pop-up at the bottom left?
It says safe mode, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, normally you're still on it. Can you try again? Yeah, click on this one.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Just try again.
See, that gets me in here.
Okay, so you might have an infinite loop somewhere. Do you remember what is the last thing that has been done by your team?
I don't. I mean, I would talk to Charles, who's been doing the last push to the front end dev. So what you're saying is that you suspect there's an infinite loop in a formula, or in a workflow.
Yeah, workflow or formula. But as you had something when you cut formulas, I think it might be because of a formula. So I guess you bound to something in the UI, to a JavaScript or something that is making a call and is making an infinite loop, basically. So could you try again without the safe mode, and could you open the console log? Do you know how to do that?
Yeah. So give me 1 second. Okay, so you want me to go to get out of safe mode, you said?
Yeah, but I think that's the case in here.
Yeah, I think I'm out now.
Could you, before selecting the page, could you open the console? So could you right click on the page anywhere and click inspect?
Got it.
Okay, super. So we can't see it because
Yeah, I think you might be showing the tab or something, Mark, so we can't see the browser.
So let me get back to you. So you're saying that I should share a different thing?
Yeah, if possible.
Share the Chrome tab or the window?
The window, I think. Or the full screen would be better if that's possible.
We'll pick the right screen. Well, if I pick this, I'm always like a lost here. If it's going to pick, what you're saying, just move this off.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, hold on, bear with me. So window, why don't I see the WeWeb window? All right, let me move this to a different screen. Bear with me 1 second.
No worries.
Okay, here we go. Now we go to window and we see this. This should be better. You see that now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm very challenged with all this sharing stuff on the different things. All right, so you want me to do what now?
Could you go back to the page that has an issue when you click on it?
Well, I think it's kind of any of them, but I'll go back to this one, which is more likely the culprit.
Okay. Okay, so at the top right, you have, we need to see the console. So yeah, super. Reading prototype. Okay. So I guess you have a binding somewhere with prototype, something like this. And maybe you have an issue here. So could you scroll to the top of this? You're onto the top. Okay. Okay, so I guess at least to debug, the best thing would be to open this page in a safe mode without any workflows and any formula.
Okay.
And go through all the UI on last binding you might have done. So to check the code. And in that code, look for a prototype, something like this. And I guess
you're literally saying something's called prototype, or no?
Yes. I see uncode type error cannot read properties of undefined winding prototype. So it means you have prototype somewhere in your application.
Where do you see
this
that?
This one. Yes. Yes. Sorry, I'm used to that. So below the one below. Yes, this one. You see, it's written uncode type. No, the one below. This one. Yeah. In this one, it's written cannot read prototype.
Reading prototype.
Prototypes of undefined reading prototype. So you have prototype dot something, and no, you have something. Yeah, well, prototype is missing somewhere. So you might have this into a JavaScript somewhere, and maybe this is loading, or you have an infinite loop. Basically, some things that prevent the editor from loading your page, your application.
All right. Well, that is massively helpful because at least it's something for me to give Charles to chew on, my developer. So most appreciated. I'm going to get after it with him on this. All right, guys.
And one quick thing, Mark, if it genuinely is on every page, the main culprit to investigate first might be some kind of app level workflow that is some kind of page level thing that loads. If it genuinely is on every page, that might be the first thing to investigate, if so.
Okay, perfect. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Cheers.
No worries. Glad we could help.
Cheers.
Cool. I know, Will, if you're still here, you've joined us. I'll put the link again in the chat if you missed it. If you have any questions for us, you're more than welcome to join as always. Hey, Amar. Amar has a question. Hello, guys. I've been studying all about WeWeb, and yesterday I did my first launch. Congratulations. But the Superbase auth is not working when the page is loaded. That's a shame. I put the link in chat there, Amar. You're more than welcome to join us, and we can go through it if you'd like. See what the issue is. Pascal has joined us. Hiya, Pascal.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Well, we can semi-see you.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to intrude like that.
No,
do you have a time for a question, or is someone else?
Yeah, of course. No, that's
Yes.
what we're here for.
Okay, I have a WeWeb project that is connected to Superbase database, and it works fine. I've got my collections from Superbase.
You still there, Pascal?
Yeah. We might have lost you.
Yes. Yeah, if you can still hear us, Pascal. Unfortunately, the audio cut off on our side.
Yes, no, so it's strange. Yes, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah.
The funny thing is that the conversation went back to the beginning. So I was just listening again to what I said before. That's very strange.
You have two tabs open? somewhere?
Yes,
Do you have to open another tab?
yes, I closed this one. Maybe that's why. Okay, so I'll start again. I have a WeWeb project connected to Superbase. It works fine to download the data into collections. It works fine to insert data into Superbase or modify data, but I can't manage to see my Edge function in the WeWeb project. And it seems like there is a problem with my Superbase connection. Just to be very, very clear, when I started my project, my Superbase was on a free plan, and then I passed on a pro plan for to use the Edge functions. But I can't see when I'm doing a workflow and I'm asking for an action, invoke an Edge function, I can't see any Edge function. And when I ask to refresh the panel with the possible Edge function, it tells me that there is a problem with the Superbase connection, which is very strange because everything else is working perfectly.
Okay, could you share your screen?
Yes.
This is kind of weird. Normally
Yes.
it works.
Where do I go in your screen to share my screen? Yeah, just there. Okay. Tout l'écran. Okay, let's go. We'll share. Okay. Can you see the WeWeb project pages? Okay.
Yes.
The first thing you will see is when I connect as an editor, which I will do right now, I always have this message with a problem with the Superbase connection, but it still works fine. I'll just wait for it to run. Okay. So first it connects there. I have no, you see the message at the bottom, error while recreating Superbase connection. Okay.
Okay.
But so far, I don't have anything from Superbase. Everything that you see there is the public pages and everything comes from Airtable. But once I log in, and I will log in, then I connect to Superbase. So I'll take this one. Okay, it's a bit slow because I'm in editor mode. Okay, so now the data that you see there comes from Superbase. So it does work fine whenever I navigate through my application. Everything comes into collections from Superbase. So all this data comes from Superbase. So it does work fine.
So the issue is that you cannot see the Edge functions in the editor, right?
I will show you now. If I modify this workflow, for example, okay, I will add an invoke Edge function.
Okay. And in here, nothing.
And you see, I have the message error while recreating Superbase project. Okay, and I can't see any function. And if I try to update,
that's normal. There is an issue with the connection. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Could you open the plugin tab? Could you go to plugins and select Superbase?
Sure.
Okay.
The funny thing there, because I did try to reconnect.
Okay. That's what I was about to ask.
So when I asked to reconnect, well, first thing, it's slow. That was one point. But anyway, I can never go to the end. At some point, it still runs, and they just stop it. But it is connected. That's why I don't understand.
So in here, it's loading, and you cannot reconnect in here.
Well, this is new. Before, I could go. When I say before, it was 2 hours ago. I could, when I was there into continue, I could go into my settings. Now it seems that I can't anymore. I don't know why. And I have the feeling that my connection problem is due to the fact that I was first with a free plan and then a paid plan with Superbase. But I don't want to remove my connection because I have something like 50 collections that I've set up into my project, and I don't want to redo everything.
Yeah, sure.
Just to check, Pascal, if you open the backend tab at the top,
there.
Yeah, because the connection is broken, so I think it's going to load nothing. Yeah.
There is nothing there. But
Okay.
what I don't understand is that if the connection is broken, then I get data from my data collection.
That's because it's the application that is making the call, and that call is public. The plugin basically is using some admin rights just to be able to go through your Supabase to get some metadata, like the name of your ads functions and some sensitive data.
Okay.
And those data are not into your application. When you click deploy, it's just for the editor. So
Okay.
so what is saved on your application is still working because your Supabase is still working, but the connection to the admin connection kind of is broken. That's why.
Okay. Would it be because of the service role key? Because I did check. This is the correct URL. This is the correct key. But I'm not sure. When I first connected Supabase, it wasn't exactly the same because I didn't have a panel with all the authorization. Can I access to what I can do with Supabase? It was quite different, but that was something like a year ago. So I guess something has changed since.
You can do both, but could you click again on connection? Really, the first step, and this one is loading infinitely, right?
Yeah, nothing happens.
Okay, when you click configure.
Yeah, because what else could I do?
Before clicking configure, could you click again on signing, the little button before?
Sign in. This one?
Yeah, this one. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, connect.
Okay,
I
super.
guess.
Could you connect again?
Yeah, I did that before, but you will see. Okay. Come on. This, how come? Is it normal that I go to Supabase?
You can cut the sharing.
If you want to log in, Pascal, I can just cut the screen share.
It was not on purpose. Hang on. I will just share again. You lost the sharing? Okay.
No, we've still got it. That's if you want to log into Supabase,
you can't see my screen anymore.
Side.
When I clicked on in WeWeb, when I click on, I can't remember what button it was. It did open Supabase.
It's connect Supabase. Yes, and you have to log in to Supabase to create the connection.
Okay.
But if you prefer, let's try this. And if you prefer the previous connection, you can still use the tab and copy paste some admin keys like you did a year ago. But let's try again to log in like this.
Okay, so there. So yes, this is new. Before I did not have this before, and when I do,
we can't use.
Okay, I got it. I know why. Okay, I got it. Okay, sorry, I made it's not the right organization. Okay,
super. Wow, I like when it's like this. but no worries. I had the same issue myself. One day I click, and I forgot the little input at the bottom to choose the organization, and I was like, why I don't have my project and so on. There is an issue, and I had the same one. So no worries, it happens.
Yeah, no, because when I connected a year ago, I did make a document to remember how to do it. But of course, everything was new, so it's been linked, so it does sound better. Okay, and now, okay, let's go. And now, if I go back there,
do you see your edge functions?
Yeah, I will see if I can see them.
Yes, you should be able
great.
to see them. Okay, super.
Yeah, I do see them now. Great.
Okay, that's great.
Sorry.
If you go to backend, you should be able to see everything, tables and functions and so on.
Yeah,
because it's really connected to Supabase, and you can even create edge functions with WeWeb AI if you like.
Okay, for the moment, I've got nothing into back end, but I guess I need to disconnect and reconnect. But I do see my edge functions now. So that's
Okay. So you might need just to
Why?
refresh
Yeah.
your page, I guess. Maybe if you refresh, just no need to reconnect, just refresh your editor and you should see everything within the
Something
database tab.
that something that I need to do very often in my project when working as an editor is to disconnect and reconnect, because otherwise it becomes slower and slower. I don't need to do that when I work as a user, not in the editor. Everything is fine. But in the editor, if I work too long in my project, I have to disconnect and reconnect because everything becomes very slow.
You have, when you say disconnect, Pascal, you have to refresh the page, or you actually have to log out?
No, I log out. I just log out. I go back. I go back to the dashboard page and I log out, and then I relog. Otherwise, it becomes too slow. But I have no issue. I have no issue in the published project. It's only as an editor.
On the editor, okay.
Yeah.
So we
So
might
it's
have
not a
mirror
big
edit
deal.
somewhere.
My computer is not very recent, so it may be
No,
it may be
no
what
worries.
it may be worse. Do you have other questions waiting, or can I ask another one? If you have
No, I think it's just thing. So if you've got another question, we can take it.
Yes, I do. I will show you. Okay, close preview. Okay. Can you still see my screen?
No.
What I said before, it's okay. You can't see my screen anymore?
No.
No? Okay, let me go back there. Okay, share screen. Here we go. Now you should see that. No, not yet. Yeah.
Yes, no, we see it.
Yes? Okay. So I will log in. Okay. So there, I'm logging into the application as a buyer, okay, and I want to have a look through the different products, which I will do. So there, I'm just looking at all the products, okay, and for example, I want to make a filter on a specific brand, okay. So when I call for a filter on any level, what I do is I open a panel. I think it's called a panel, the component, a panel, no, a slide. I open a slide. My problem is when I use a multiple choice select in a slide, then I can't do the scrolling. If I use the same component in a page, I can do the scrolling. So I was wondering if it's just because I'm using this component into a slide that the scrolling is not available anymore. I'm not clear.
When you say scrolling, you mean within your select input or within your panel, your slide?
Yeah, let me show you. You see there, if I use the brand filter, I have more brands than the 8 of the filter. And if I want to go to the bottom, I need to use the elevator. Okay, I can't do it with the mouse by scrolling into the component. If I use the same kind of component into in some another page, for example, do you have it there as a buyer. Let me see. Yes, I will information. Yes, that's what I told you before. When I'm working as an editor, I need to disconnect and reconnect because it's getting too slow. Specificity. Rayon. Okay. There. So in this page, I'm using the same kind of control. Okay. But this time, let's take this one. Because it's in a page and not in a panel, okay, I can scroll. Let me take alimentation, boucherie. Okay. No, sorry, wrong example. Sorry, I'm not being very clear there. I need to disconnect and reconnect.
That's weird. Normally, you don't have to do something like this.
Yeah, I think if you refresh the page, Pascal, it might.
Well, it's been like that from the beginning.
It should.
It's been like that from the beginning, and I've always been doing that. It seems that when if I in editor mode, if I load too much collections, then it's getting slow. But sorry, I think I'm making everyone losing its time there. My main issue was to do with the edge functions. So
I think breaking up slightly, Pascal. I think if there is someone waiting,
I'm not
so I
going
think
to
we'll switch over
the time from everyone just for that. It's not a big issue.
No
There's one. If I have an issue, I will come back some other next week or the week after.
Super.
Can you hear me?
Cool. Thanks so much, Pascal. Yes. Cool. Okay. I think we'll switch over. Thank you so much,
Thank
Pascal.
you. We lost you at the end.
I was saying.
Cool. Right. Emmerich has joined us in the lobby, so we'll switch over to Emmerich. Hi, Emmerich. Can you hear us?
Hey, yeah, I can hear you guys. You guys can hear me, yeah?
Super. Yes.
Yeah,
how's it going?
Good. Just a quick question. Well, I thought it was going to be a quick question, but I kind of messed up a bit on my side, so it may be a longer question. See if we can figure it out. But I posted it on the forum as well. Basically, I have an edge function on Supabase, and I've used a bit of basically AI to kind of build it and all of that. But the idea of this is that it's basically kind of going through a few tables, and it should return data in a specific way. And initially, I was testing it here, and I was giving it kind of this this body, and it was giving me the correct data set back. But now for some reason it's not doing it, so it's probably not something that I can explain. But the question that I was trying to figure out is in WeWeb, I have this here. And that's basically what I was trying to figure out. What's the best way for me to reference or to pass a variable part of the body in order to invoke the edge function? Is it because basically, I mean, this is I was just using for testing kind of a standalone ID, but ideally I would want to bind this to, I guess, the ID of the page that I'm on.
Do you want to go for
Yeah,
that?
I can. So it depends on your edge function. So in here, if you wish to use the ID, you're going to have to click the little plug icon to bind the body, and then you have to return an object like this. So we can do it. You can copy the value here if you like, or even copy everything in here. You can
Sure.
copy everything, and then you can bind in here. You can paste. You can paste object like this in here, and in here you can replace this text in here by a value somewhere in your application. So if you okay, don't click yet. Yeah, that's because it's between quotes. So you have to remove the quotes. And now you can click.
Okay.
And here you are.
Okay. Okay. So that should kind of do it. I mean, like I said, for now I can't really kind of show anything more in terms of this, because like I said, initially I was getting the correct returns back here.
But now you're having an error.
Yeah,
you have
but
a bad request, so maybe it's not supplier ID like this. So could you open quickly your edge function? We can just take a look quickly.
Yeah. So
headers, okay, it's below supplier ID. Let's.
Yeah, I have kind of a little thing kind of looking at last 12 months as well. So kind of I can basically give it two variables. I can give it like a supplier ID to give me that, or I can give it supplier ID as well as last 12 months in order to get two types of data back.
Yeah, you have a bad request error. So it's not supplier ID the issue, because otherwise you would have the error above supplier ID is required to do the request body. So it's not this, so it's something else. What you can do is to ask AI to add more logs in here, and within Superbase you can check the logs.
Yeah.
And if you wish, also you can try out our AI to create edge functions. The nice thing with that is that we pre-fill the bodies and so on.
Sure. I think I'm one of the lucky ones with AI that on my on this project AI doesn't really work. So I get the whole, I get the, I think, prompt too long or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, this is something that we are going to fix in the coming weeks.
Sure. I mean, what I've been doing basically, I've been kind of using it on like a separate project in the same workspace. So I don't know why it works on a different project in the same workspace, but not on this. And then I'm kind of trying to kind of copy paste things. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry for this. That's because we are sending too many things in the context. We are sending all your pop-ups, workflows, and everything. You cannot select what you send.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it even for like new pages or something that I've really struggled, which I think a bunch of people mentioned in the community, is the currency field. And I was trying to kind of just say, can you make this a currency field type thing? And
No,
anyway,
this is something that we're going to fix.
Work on the.
We're on it. I promise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, thanks for that. In case I kind of bump into something else, I'll let you guys.
Yeah, please.
But thanks for the help.
And that there should actually be the currency input, I think, is going to be released tomorrow, by the way. So one to watch out for.
Good news then. Good news. Okay. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Right. Cheers, Emmerich. So in between Emmerich, and Pascal, there was a question from Eric, and this will be one for you, Flo, because it's Supabase related. Eric was wondering how to set up multi-factor authentication using Google Authenticator. So I checked the Supabase docs. You can do this. TOTP, I'm not too sure entirely what that stands for, but I think you would have to basically, there's functions you can invoke using Supabase, but I don't think we have something native in the Supabase plugin for this. So I think you would have to do this with edge functions, Flo, or you'd know better than me.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I need to take a look. I haven't done this with the Supabase native function, so I'm sorry, I don't know. But yeah, you might have to use an edge function for this. And yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know. I guess yes, but this is something I need to try out myself. I didn't try the native Supabase things for this. I'm sorry.
And then there was a question from Samar, but just to double check, I'm pretty sure there wouldn't be any issues. He asked if setting up, hey guys, is there something I need to know if I want my main domain to be connected to WordPress for SEO and my WeWeb app as a subdomain? Yeah, there shouldn't be any issues. If there is issues, I think they would just be DNS related, basically external to WeWeb.
Yeah, no issue at all. You can have your app.domain something attached to your web application.
Yeah. And Eric joined us in here actually, so maybe you can walk us through it. Hey, Eric.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
How's it going?
Good.
Yes.
Hey, sorry, my camera is on the wrong camera. Just a quick question for you. The MFA, essentially the way that Supabase does it is you put in username and password, and then it challenges it when it gets the response back. I think it's AAL2 or something like that, which is the second level of authentication. It doesn't look like the out of the box Supabase auth kind of handles that.
Yeah, I guess then you're gonna have to send a code to Supabase or something, right?
Yeah, it responds with a code, and then it and then you essentially do another API call to Supabase with that code and the 6-digit number that they that they provide from their app.
So give me just 1 second, I can check out something.
If it's any useful, I just sent you one. I sent you a link to the docs for it.
I found it too. Just okay. So we don't support natively this request. I think you're gonna have to just use a line of JavaScript for this. Let me check.
If I do it through the custom auth instead, would that be the way? Because the custom auth would then give me the response, and then I'd be able to handle that with a workflow or something like that, right?
Because you need to unroll. Give me just 1 more minute. Going through the documentation of this. Well, in any case, you can definitely use the custom auth to do that for sure, but it would be easier if you could use the normal one. So let me just check. So you need to list factors. These are policies. Okay, so could you create a topic in the community, and I will take the time to try it out myself, and I will answer you there. It's going to be easier because I can give you some advices right now, but I'd like to test it before.
Yeah, sounds good. One other quick question: when I use AI to generate something, it sometimes comes back with like a JavaScript response, which has like a hard-coded ID of a variable in it. Is there any way to get by not having a hard-coded ID?
And instead of the name?
Yeah, instead of...
So,
because what happens if I try to bring that to a different project or something like that, then that ID doesn't carry over.
yeah, so it's not possible. We are using ID because at first we wanted for you to be able to change the name quickly and so on. That's why we made that choice at the time. So unfortunately now you have to use ID within the JavaScript to select variables. You cannot copy paste this to another project. But what you can do, if this is really something that you wish to productize between projects, you can create a formula. And in that formula, you can add some inputs, and that could be the ID, the variable ID in the end. And in your code, then you can use something that you can copy paste to another project.
Okay, gotcha. That works. Yeah, because I typically do any AI stuff in a separate project because my main project is complex and I don't want to. One of my concerns or whatever is just that AI does whatever it's going to do without me knowing what it's going to do before it does it.
Got it. And this is super interesting. Thank you for this feedback.
Yeah, I would love to have a conversation with it and then say, okay, go, or click the button, execute, or whatever, and have it go and do its thing once I've had the conversation and understand.
Yes, totally get it. But you should know someone in the team is working on this.
Perfect.
So this is something we are exploring.
Cool. Well, that's great. Thanks for your help. Appreciate it, and love what you guys are doing. So.
Thank you, and ping me within the community when you create the post for the authentication. I will definitely make some tests.
Will do. Thank you.
Cheers, Eric. And then Emmerich was waiting for us, but just quickly, Timo had a question in chat related to global formulas. He was asking can you use a global formula without needing to bind it to a variable? And his use case was, I want to use it in various inputs and activate it on change, but it looks like it's waiting for a variable with the parentheses at the end. Yeah, the parentheses is just, you don't necessarily have to put a variable inside the parentheses. The parentheses is there for you to put in input parameters. So if the formula has input parameters, then you can pass something in. But if there is no input parameters, then you don't actually have to pass anything in. You don't have to put anything inside the parentheses, the bracket. So you don't have to pass something in if you don't want to pass in a variable. And right, we'll switch back to Emmerich. He managed to get the edge function working, but apparently now it's not working in WeWeb.
Yeah, so okay, so basically from Supabase, I just took the curl. So yeah, I just took that and pasted that in here, and this is kind of the format. So not sure why previously it wasn't working, because I haven't changed anything on
Supabase side.
On Supabase, so it was probably kind of an issue here. But anyway, so my ID, and I've took the actual ID from the page that I'm on right now.
Okay.
So yeah, so when I'm testing this, it doesn't
I
actually
think you need to enable
work.
cores within your edge function.
So
I think it's a cores issue. I'm pretty sure of it.
Is that within the code?
Yeah.
Is that
yes,
what you're
in
saying?
the code? But I think I've seen that at the top. Let me check access controllers. Yes, you might have to enable more things in here. Give me 1 second.
while you're thinking, I'm gonna ask another question, and hopefully it will be that. Basically, one of the issues that I have, and I think a lot of people have, is whenever you build these data models, you have a bunch of tables, and then whenever you want to get something back, you may want to get it at a summary level, or like at, you know, kind of a level 2 or level 3 or level 1 kind of structure. So if you have like, I don't know, 50 records and you have a category of those records, you want to show like the count per category, things like that. Anyway, so I found it a bit difficult to kind of query one table in order to get a list, and then from that list query another table, and so on and so forth. So where I got to was that I can do that querying of multiple tables and restructuring the data part of an edge function. And this is basically my testing of that. And then whenever querying that edge function, get my data in the format that I want in a much simpler way to display it, basically. And basically my question is this a good solution, or is this bad practice, or it's neither or, basically?
It's definitely the right solution. So you could do SQL function to do this, or view also within Supabase, but at one point you need a backend. And in Supabase, the backend is an edge function. So this is really the best way to be in control of what you are going to ask for, and then manipulate the data to return what you want. And and yeah, well, I'm glad you're bringing that up, because this is a workshop I'm going to have tomorrow morning, so I like it.
And just so you know, Emmerich, is in the web development space, I think what you're referring to is basically termed a join. And so if it's a simple join, I don't know if you've experimented with it, you can actually do this natively with the Supabase plugin. You might not actually need an edge function, depending on how much you want to manipulate the data. If it was just straightforward as, I don't know, you have a table, and let's say each record has a category linked to it. If you wanted to just get those category records, you could do that natively with the Supabase plugin by just joining the two tables. But if you get into more advanced stuff with manipulating the data, that's probably where an edge function would come in.
Yeah, it's just slightly more advanced than that. A bunch of many-to-ones, and basically I'm trying to group by those manys, basically. Yeah, it's just, the table structure is a bit more complicated.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just need 1 more minute.
And then while you were finding that, Flo, Eric just had a follow-up question. He says, one other question I forgot to ask, what's the best way to update multiple variables at one time? Do I need separate actions in the workflow? Yes. So if you want to update multiple variables, Eric, you would need separate actions in a workflow. Or if you really wanted to do it in a single action, in theory, you could use a custom JavaScript action. And within that, you could change multiple variable values at once. But if you want to keep it full no code, then yeah, you would need multiple actions.
So Matthew, I've sent you just a piece of code.
Cool. I will put this in the private chat for you, Emmerich.
Okay.
So if you take a look to the top of your code, you do have this cars header, I think. Yeah, this one. And you are missing a bit of it. So yeah. So you're gonna have to paste maybe, so yeah, you're gonna have to remove just the beginning, and you might have some of them already.
So
so you do have access control allow origin. You see this one?
Yeah.
So you already have this one. Then access control allow method. No headers. Okay, perfect. So you can remove that and just copy paste what's inside. So authorization, you do have this one already. So you just have to add the 3 last ones. So X client API key. Yeah, just copy those ones, and you can add them at the end of the one you have. So you can cut that. Yes, perfect. Just add a comma after authorization, a comma here, and paste. And normal. And can you? Yeah. Okay. Super. So can you save this? And can you try again? Okay, great.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Yes, yeah, this is perfect. Another quick one for me. Again, a question, not a hands-on thing. In terms of emails on Supabase, I know that they have this integration that they're mentioning with, I think, Resend or something like that, somewhere. But I found, from what I understood from that, or actually, let me tell you what I was hoping that integration would do, and then you can confirm if that's what it does. What I was somehow hoping is that, you know, they would have this integration, and Resend would give us the option to basically build like email templates directly on that particular account, and then we can trigger those email templates. But somehow I kind of got lost in the thing with there. It seems that it's not that simple. Am I mistaken there, or?
Yeah, it's doing this with Supabase, yeah, and Resend, it's a bit techy. So you're gonna have to create an edge function for this too. So you're gonna have to go to Resend to set up your account, and then create a dedicated function for that.
My not backup plan, but basically where I went with I think it's called Brevo or something like that, like a SendGrid type of, I guess, yeah, another version of that, which kind of has, I guess, a UI for that, and then it kind of, I guess, helps with any type of automation that needs to be done.
Honestly, you can use SendGrid, for example, or any provider, and then make the connection with an edge function. Then you can try out to create an edge function with our AI, and just say that you want to send an email with SendGrid and so on, and it's going to give you some code that you can then iterate on to make it work. And then you might have to, because I guess you're gonna want to send the email when there is an event or something. So then you're gonna have to make that trigger too. And this can be done, I think, with a secured event or something like this. But basically, I really love your use case. Thank you for this. You just gave us food for thoughts for tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for the help. This has been brilliant. So hopefully, I mean, I have a bunch of those edge functions that I want to create right now, and hopefully this kind of, you know, unlocked that opportunity for me. Thanks again.
Super. Cheers, Ulrich. And then to end off, I think there was a question from Tamar. Why edge functions and not a regular function? Again, Flo, I think you're Supabase centric. This would be one for you. I think based on the logic that was required there, could you have done that all in SQL, or?
Yeah, but you can have edX with this. SQL is really hard to maintain. If it's simple, honestly, you can do that. You can create a SQL function, and it could work. And it's pretty powerful to manipulate a bit of data. And indeed, for this use case, it could work properly. But for coding SendGrid or making API calls or those kind of things, edge functions definitely. Yeah. So basically, if it's just for viewing data, manipulating data, and triggering some things within your table, you can definitely do that with SQL and use AI to generate those functions. It will work perfectly, and it's pretty powerful. I mean, it's fast, so it's pretty nice to do that. But when it gets a bit complex, and you need to make API calls, use an edge function.
Perfect. Right, that's pretty much bang on the hour. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. As always, we're here every Tuesday from 6 or 7 p.m. Central European time. Thanks so much for joining me, Flo.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, everyone.